the biggest story right now, the Dodgers trail the Padres 10-6. It was 9-2. I got here in the third inning, and it was 9-2. All of a sudden, the Dodgers came back and put up a 4 spot, but the Padres have added 1 and lead 10-6 now in Seoul, Korea, in the Seoul series. But the biggest story nationally, and this is crazy because there's all kinds of videos of Shohei Ohtani with his translator, Ippei Mazahura? I think that's how you pronounce it. Ippei Mazahura. We're going to call him Ippei. So apparently, Ippei, and I don't know how accurate it is, but there is somebody who is saying that Shohei Ohtani was on a couple of the wire transfers that were totaled that had $500,000 transfers to a bookie who's under investigation.
That's how they found out. Like, this wasn't about Ohtani; it was about the bookie, and they came across that name.
Right,
Ohtani. You kind of recognize that name.
And apparently, Shohei, his name. Well, according to this, I have no idea. It's a check mark. It's talking baseball. It's a guy who's saying ESPN is saying they reviewed the data, and Shohei Ohtani's name is on a couple of. There was $4.5 million worth of wire transfers from the Ohtani camp, either Ippei or both, to this bookie. The bookie, when first asked about it, Shohei or Ippei told investigators that he had a gambling problem and that he owed $4.5 million. And then, not much later, and there's a lot of different stories coming out here, but one of these stories, or maybe it is the story, says that they later recanted that and said that Ippei was stealing for Ohtani to pay off his gambling debt. Now,
that's impossible.
Yeah.
You, this is not his accountant. This is an interpreter. I've never heard of interpreter/accountant. You know that one interpreter that does all the Spanish-speaking players? The guy with the beard for the Astros?
Yeah.
Does he have all their accounts? Like, does he handle their taxes? Does he handle all that?
I don't know how close they are, whether or not he has access. We don't know. But
Access to
we
a
do
bank
know
account?
that it is. But we do know, we have seen, just yesterday, we saw Shohei in the dugout with him,
laughing and smiling,
having a good time.
It was no big deal supposedly for a guy who had some terrible gambling problem that he stood up before the club and was crying. And then they didn't get rid of him then. He was at the game hanging out with Shohei, no big deal. Come on. They got caught and they tried to spin quickly. And the big mistake they made was they started with one story, which was he had to help pay off the gambling debt, which actually, could be true. To say, I understand when people say there's no way he could have a $4.5 million gambling debt. He doesn't make that much. People gamble way more than they make all the time and get in holes all the time.
4.5 is a big number.
It's a lot, but it's possible.
I guess it's possible if you believe that Shohei is the one that is going to be able to pay it off.
Yes, it's possible. What's not possible is to go from that to, he stole the money. And he just did that out of my account. All of a sudden, from having some deniability, even though it didn't seem super reasonable, now it seems absolutely, you just hurt your credibility. That story hurts even more now because you say, wait a minute, he got into your account. Do you know how hard it is to wire money?
Yeah.
Have you ever tried to wire money? You can't just wire money, $4.5 million from a bank and just have it.
Right.
Like Shohei's friend is, hey, I'm going to wire some money out of his account.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no problem. Can we see your drive? Can we see? Are you Shohei? No. So you want to get into his account? You would have to have power of attorney to do that. You would literally have to have power of attorney. There's no way this guy has power of attorney to move his money around through wires. Come on.
So okay. There is a real possibility that this is Shohei Ohtani. There is a real possibility because according to there's something fishy about this. There is a possibility this is Shohei Ohtani that has been gambling and has these gambling debts to this because, first of all, how does this interpreter get? secondly, they're close, and they were still close right up until right after the game when all of this was exposed. If Shohei Ohtani is involved in any way, shape, or form, what does Major League Baseball do about this?
Well, they turn a blind eye, obviously.
Yeah.
What do you mean? About steroids, about the Yankees letter, about you don't do anything. You wait for the news cycle to go away.
But how about that this guy is taking the fall saying, I stole the money? So he is going to be a persona non grata. Are you kidding? As much as Shohei is loved in Japan,
he's done in baseball for sure.
So
he's done forever.
Well, he's done forever. Although I would imagine the dude that's making $70 million, if he's taking the fall on this thing, he's going to be taken care of.
No, this is like mafia stuff. If you have to take the pinch, but that pinch is going to be, if you're taking a pinch, which man does it look like that?
It is.
I mean, it really looks like he's taking the pinch for Ohtani, and if he isn't, then did Shohei just find out? There's no way. Shohei knew. Best case scenario, Shohei went into his account for $4.5 million to bail this guy out. Best case scenario. And the guy continued to work for the Dodgers as of yesterday in Seoul, South Korea at this series. That's the best case scenario, which isn't a great look at where Shohei's got wire transfers to a bookie. Worst case scenario, Shohei Ohtani is involved with gambling on sports and potentially baseball if it's worst case scenario, and potentially Angels games. This is worst case scenario, obviously. We know that got Pete Rose banished from baseball for life. If it's found that, I promise you, Major League Baseball, first of all, you'd have to get to the bookies' books. And if it's found that, and there's no way Shohei Ohtani's name is actually Shohei Ohtani if he's gambling, maybe it would be done through a third person if they're smart. But let's just say it was under Ohtani's name. Let's just say somehow there was SO or something like that. If it was ever found out, Major League Baseball would bury it so quick, they can't have it get out. This is the most popular player in the sport. They would absolutely 100% bury it. Just like if Michael Jordan was involved in gambling, which many people believe, what did they do? They just made Michael, at least David Stern potentially made Michael Jordan go away for a little bit.
Yeah. Right. A couple of years he went away. If that wasn't in fact the case.
Quietly.
Yeah. If in fact that was the case. Mookie Betts just homered. It's 10-8 Padres over the Dodgers. I mean, come on, Padres. You had a 9-2 lead. You're awful.
Is this going to be your existence rooting against the Dodgers
I hate
game
the Dodgers.
by game?
I hate the Dodgers. Every game I'm going to root.
Well, you should feel good. Yamamoto
at
only
least
lasted
60
an inning.
times I'll be right. Or 50 sometimes I'll
That's
be right.
not a great ratio if you're only right like 50 times.
50 out of 162? That ain't bad.
You're going to be miserable most of the time. Then.
I'm going to be miserable. I know. And I was miserable yesterday, and I'll be miserable again.
Did you feel good that Yamamoto could only go get one inning, and then they had to pull him?
I
Did you
didn't
feel good
mind
about
that at all.
I'm sure you did feel good.
In Korea, Yamamoto got lit up. What'd they spend on him?
Lots of money.
A lot of money. How about that? Love that. That is so awesome. That is so awesome. Anyway, this is something, and if they cover this up for him, dude, it is so hypocritical. Because if it was anybody else that was, had a $4.5 million gambling debt to paying off a bookie, they would be screwed. But because it's Shohei Ohtani and his popularity and what he brings to the table from Asia, that's a load of crap. I wonder if he's gripping a little bit now.
Do we have information about what the bets were on, or just the monetary figures?
They probably do.
Okay, so if he is
we have apparently wired transfers to him, to the bookie that have Ohtani's name on them.
So what's Major League Baseball's stance on betting on non-baseball activities? Do they have?
I think it'd be hypocritical for them because up there on right now where it says San Diego 10-8, it says odds of winning right above it.
I know.
Odds percentage, win percentage, 75% for the Padres.
So I understand the number is out there and it's crazy and you've got a scandal, but if it's Ohtani and all he did was have gambling debts at casino, or he's using a bookie in other sports, What does Major League Baseball do? If he's betting on football and basketball, but
Major League we already saw football. Ridley was gone.
But he bet on football. What if Ohtani's just betting on football and basketball and he hasn't touched baseball? What do they do to him?
They're not going to do anything.
Yeah, so I know where we're
They'll give
at.
him a talking to.
I know where we're at now.
What is their policy? I don't even know. Major League Baseball. I know their policy is if you gamble on baseball,
You're done.
Or is it bet on your own team? I can't remember.
No,
Did Rose
baseball?
Did Rose get caught betting on his own team?
He did.
Yes, I believe
He
so,
did,
right?
But not against.
Not
I don't
against.
think ever against.
Not against.
Regardless, you can't bet on baseball.
No, he was done. He was Rose is done. And we already know how this plays out. Trash cans, although I will say, I mean, the Astros got punished, but really it's more the outrage from, well, ironically, Dodger fans. But it's, the Astros were punished by Major League Baseball, but the players were not suspended. And it did lead to a firing of the manager and GM, but that happened from the owner. I doubt that came from Rob Manfred. But still, it's amazing how this will be. I think Major League Baseball fans are going to make a big deal about it. I think Dodger fans will minimize it, obviously.
Oh, yeah.
Someone just texted me on the rule. Gambling on other sports is fine, but not with an illegal bookie. And this was an illegal bookie, so that's where the issue is.
Yeah.
Okay.
That should create a suspension if it's – but they found a fall guy. So guess what? Unless there's a paper trail, it ain't going to matter.
Yeah.
It is not going to matter. And if he's using one of the offshore books, like who's calling into bookies anymore? Who's picking up a phone and calling a guy, I want to get down with 4 dimes on the Pistons.
He could still.
It would
guy
be
could
an
still have
online
a
account with a number.
Right.
He'd have an ID number.
Yeah.
You wouldn't know who it is.
Yeah.
You wouldn't know who Shohei is. So you got your fall guy.
You're going to be able to find who owes $4.5 million.
Yeah,
more
but
than likely.
But if Shohei say no, that number, all you need to do is have somebody say, "Yeah, we got him."
Yeah, right.
As soon as you have a fall guy, you're fine. This guy's willing to take the fall, and I guarantee you,
And he's going to be
potentially
taken care of.
Potentially,
yeah.
Maybe it was his debt, but if it was Ohtani's, you got a fall guy, and I would assume he's going to be.
It doesn't make any sense that the guy was able to steal all that money and was able and by the way, allegedly there's Shohei Ohtani on some of the transfers. Unless he was saying, just Ohtani says I was bailing him out.
Which
whatever.
he said.
Whatever. Yeah, whatever. I just hate this for the Dodgers.
No, you don't.
I do. Yamamoto getting lit up.
I feel like you're
Ohtani
not being
now in
honest.
trouble.
I feel like this would be great for you to have this hanging over the Dodger season.
Shohei Rose.
I thought you felt bad.
I do feel bad. I feel bad for Shohei Rose.
Is he Pete Ohtani or Shohei Rose? Which one's better?
I like Pete Ohtani.
I think Pete Ohtani's
Pete
better.
Ohtani.
Yeah.
I kind of like that.